Glorious people of the planet. Are you suffering from delusions of grandeur? Filling your home with shades of grey just like everybody else? Well, prepare to be inspired. I am about to take you on a celebratory frolic through the outrageous homes of proud-to-be-different homeowners.
Hey, this is the most extraordinary house. Oh, wow.
This is where it all started and it's gone completely bonkers.
They're daring with their decor.
Where do you even start with putting velvet on the ceiling?
And wild with their designs.
I've never been a conformist.
No, exactly.
You can pop a smiley face on anything.
You kind of can, can't you?
So get ready to lose your interior inhibitions.
Was there a moment with any of this that you thought we might be going a little bit too far?
No.
This time, we're meeting these wonderful warriors of design. From grandiose goth glam and pretty punky pottery palace to mini maximalist and visionary Victoriana. Prepare ye to be outraged and then fall in love just a little bit.
It's as if a rich woman in her 40s in the 1980s lived here.
Oh, bonjour, bienvenue, or as they say around here, all right. Yes, I always like to approach Essex by boat. It's a county of contrasts and home to a gazillion tanning salons. Who knew? But it's also where our next delicious dinosaurs reside. And one thing's for certain, you won't be catching these two with any kind of suntan. Prepare to be devilishly delighted. Oi, Captain Pugwash, does this thing go any faster?
3 years ago, this 1927 Tudor detached house in Essex went on the market. It was snapped up and transformed into a goth-tastic, macabre masterpiece by its new owners. Meet Elena, an artist, designer and content creator from Latvia. There's exotic. Husband Alex, an Italian chef and part-time rock god. And their full-time rock dogs, Alice and Lexi.
That's the introductions done with. Come on, let's have a look at the house.
Yes, you two as well.
I mean, I like something to look at when you're lying in bed, but aren't you a bit worried that that chandelier might fall on you in the middle of the night?
It's like a Russian roulette. It might not.
You like sleeping dangerously.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that strikes me is that it's all beautifully straight.
I am a perfectionist, so it wouldn't have been any other way.
I can see. And how did you do it?
I have bought a bunch of these little plaster bits, took Alex and forced him to move them millimeter by millimeter while I laid on the floor until it was completely perfect.
This is an A-star example of attention to detail, from the carved wooden bed that was sourced in Indonesia to the delicate black lace that enrobes it.
I would love to know what you two call this look.
I guess we could call it a Gothic, Victorian, Baroque, vampire, Rococo.
Dracula, medieval, I guess.
Fantasy.
Where does this inspiration come from?
I learned about these styles when I did an interior course when I was a teenager and really loved them. We loved the dark, we loved the macabre, and we loved the over-the-top.
Why specifically red, though? Because, I mean, everything is red or black.
We like black, we are goths.
Yeah, it's quite a classic Gothic color combination. It is very dramatic. But we didn't really plan to paint pretty much the entire house red. It just happened. Red just really spoke to us.
Spoke to you? It positively shouted. Red is everywhere in this house, on the walls, the floors, ceilings, and accessories. It may not be for everyone, but...
If you're a red person, like Alina and Alex, The thing to do is just lose yourself in red, immerse yourself in red. Use as many different shades of red as possible. Red commands. And that's why my tip is put red with black. Black is the only colour that will calm red down. It's the only colour strong enough to take red on mano a mano. So I want to know where some of these doors lead. Can you take me through that one?
You want to know all the ladies' secrets,
I want
don't
to know
you?
all the ladies'
Let's
secrets. Do you
go.
mind if your wife shows me her secrets? No, it's fine. You stay there, Alex. If I need help, I'll call. It's an ensuite bathroom. Of course it's an ensuite bathroom.
My favorite room in the house.
Is it?
This 16-foot-long ensuite is the depth of decadence. A ginormous roll-top bath, sconces positively dripping with jewels. And of course, what every bathroom needs. No, not that. A chandelier.
The detail is extraordinary. I mean, absolutely extraordinary. You've got, I mean, red grout on the tiles, for goodness sake.
I'm glad you noticed.
Is that just blood? You just mopped it up badly?
Don't tell anyone.
I won't tell.
It's grout.
It's grout. Ah.
No worries.
And this is magnificent.
This is actually an antique sideboard that we have rescued from an antique shop. It was painted grey and a little bit broken, but we saw the potential. So I stripped down all of this paint. I even went into all of the carvings and crevices with my rotary tool.
Say rotary tool again.
Rotary tool.
I may use that now as my telephone ring. I think that's a rotary tool. Look, I mean, it is all, I mean, it's like super boutique hotel. And then the shower is a marvel. May I?
Yeah.
So there's certainly plenty of room.
We can even take a little seat.
Yeah, can't we just? It feels like it's a social space. Again, though, I love the red grout, because actually with this wonderful kind of deep burgundy wall, actually having the white grout would be a bit, you know, a bit jarring.
That's why we went for it. But it was a pretty challenging task to find red grout.
How many people have you had in here?
2 people and 2 dogs.
For a couple with a love of all things old, Alina and Alex haven't shied away from modern luxury. They've just hidden it a bit. Their wedding picture? Yeah, that's a TV. A fire surround. Actually, a surround sound. And
What's in here?
More modern technology.
It's a washing machine, dang it.
disguising all this modern shizzle keeps their Gothic pad cleverly on theme. But there is one room where everything's on show. A limitless walk-in wardrobe, the height of vampy-campy luxury.
So is this your boudoir?
Yes, it is.
Oh, no, hang on, it's a boudoir as well. So we've got Mars on one side and Venus on the other.
Exactly.
Alina was actually quite nice to leave me a bit of
I think
space.
she was sweet,
Yeah.
she was. But I mean, that's quite an oppressive amount of clothing. Something of a dandy.
He is a bit. He likes to dress up.
Well, also, the other thing is, rather than having a wardrobe, both of you come through this Gothic arch and then you're surrounded by all the bits and pieces that you know, are needed to turn you into these metal deities.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that a kind of a onesie or a tracksuit wouldn't really work. No, it's not going to, you know.
Although I have.
Although you have. Oh, you have. There, you see, that's your dirty
Special
secret.
flippers, yeah.
That's why it lives in the drawer.
Yeah, you went like this. You went. It was like garlic. It was like. Ugh. But what was it like growing up? Were you always this black and lacy?
Pretty much. I remember when I was around 10, I saw a rock music video and it just completely flipped my world. But back in the day in Latvia, you didn't have anything, any cool shops or anything like that. So I had to fairly quickly learn to thrift things, customize them to my liking, and I
Do
definitely...
your own thing. Your detail is just consistently really quite gobsmacking. Even down to these drawers with the trimming on them, the edging on them.
Our jewelry trays, these were just plain grey felt, and actually I only used the velvet from the old curtains that came with this house when we bought it.
I mean, that is so impressive. I love the fact you've got all your witches' hats lined up. Do you wear those out?
Yes, I do.
Even that really pointy one?
Absolutely. Could you reach it?
I can reach it for you. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, it's got ribbons as well.
Yes, so that it doesn't fly off.
Does it work? Gryffindor. Slytherin. Oh, my goodness me. It really, really, really suits you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really, really good on you.
Would you like to try?
No, it's okay. Is this yours?
Yes, it's his.
Look at this. Oh, come on, slip that on. You keep your hat on. This is absolutely the defining moment for you two, isn't it?
Alina's deathless passion for design really has created the most amazing visual treat of a home. Of course, Alex has been allowed to play a small part.
I really like naked bricks like that. I kind of had to fight a bit to keep them because she wanted to cover them.
I love the fact you call them naked bricks. I've never heard them called naked bricks before. I'm going to call them naked bricks forever.
But it's Alina's passionate pursuit of sumptuous opulence that really makes this Gothic house scream!
It's all about detail with you. Look at the way you've got the white chihuahua on the white side of your head and the black chihuahua on the black hair side.
That's why I married her.
Why do you two feel you've got to carve out your own planet? You've got to create this cave for yourself that's completely different to the way that everybody else does it.
I guess, why not? Like, that's who we are. We don't really follow, like, the trend, and we just follow what we like. In our previous house, we were pretty young, and we decorated it ourselves, and it was all, like, purple and black and silver. It was very, like, teenage, but...
It was the kitschiest Halloween store in the form of a house.
I love this kind of, you were teen vamps, so you had purple, silver and black, but now you're like grown-up vamps and you've moved to the suburbs, so it's now red and gold. What's the colour combination in 10 years?
Who knows?
Probably all white. You'll probably go really kinky and go beige.
No.
No.
Never.
If we do...
Alina and Alex, they've done it their way, and I think it should give all of us a sense of wondering what's behind even the most straightforward suburban-looking exteriors, because inside could be a world created for their very own. Hurrah!
Popping up a pretty painted pottery palace lived in by a puckish punky potter.
I like the fact that I stand out really easily.
The Forest of Dean is a veritable jewel box of British wildlife. There's wild boar, there's deer. Now, don't be alarmed, because these are actually alpaca, or ponchos in waiting, as I like to call them. Now, there are some outrageous homeowners that have worked out that if they want an outrageous home that truly matches their own outrageous personality, then they'll just have to roll up their sleeves and do it themselves.
Dingly deep in the frilly forest lies this charming 18th century workers' cottage. It's the home of Mary Rose, a potter, but not just any old potter. She's pottery royalty. Her work is known worldwide for its vibrant colours, decadent details, and sheer, well, bonkersness.
Interesting. Come on, I fancy a pot around your pad.
OK.
What a house! Yellow windows, painted potty primrose give a tiny tease to what's inside, because when your mind works like Mary's, there's only one way to decorate. Colour. And lots of it.
You're an angel of colour.
I like it.
I would imagine you get very bored of people coming into your house and putting sunglasses on. Saying, whoa, it's so bright, Mary Rose, it's so bright.
Yeah, no, I've never really noticed anyone. Have you got sunglasses with you?
In my pocket, in my pocket.
Yeah.
But this is just all about you. It's like a room living its best life.
Oh.
It is so unbelievably happy and optimistic.
Yeah, I really, really like this room. Alice in Wonderland comes into my mind. It's sort of like hilarious and big and it makes you feel small. And yeah, just when I think of these things, though, I'm so excited. You couldn't believe it. I'm playing with the colours and seeing what that yellow might look like with different pink or...
You know, the relationship between colours is very important, but also the relationship between objects is very important. So, you know, things like the dresser.
That's another thing, isn't it? Buying things cheaply. You know, everything I bought as cheap as I could find.
Yeah. But, I mean, one of the things that's amusing me a lot is you're making all of these nods towards quite traditional grown-up dining rooms. So you've got a chandelier, you've got what in a Victorian room would actually be plasterwork on the ceiling, and then just scrumpled paper on the cornice. All of these things are real motifs of, you know, suburban bourgeois dining rooms, but you've done it in plastic flowers and scrumpled paper.
I think it's just having fun, though, don't you think?
Yeah. Imagine going to sleep a boring old dresser and waking up looking like that. I love the way that you've got this incredibly intimate, colourful courtyard that nobody in the rest of the Forest of Dean could ever see.
Yeah, I know.
The driving past is quite conventional stone cottage, but look at the juiciness that surrounds it.
I just love it. Thank you, garden centre.
Yes, exactly.
Mary Rose is clever with her colours. Now concentrate, here comes the science bit. She always uses the same tone. If one colour is a bit darker, it will tip over the balance.
Whew. Everywhere you look in this house is literally Mary Rose world. It's all becoming a bit of a symphony in front of my eyes. Everything's working together.
That's what I like to hear. To me, of course, it's home, so it's not really like I'm sitting in any incredible world of me. Why I did the house like it is was because I wanted people to walk in, understand it. Oh, we're supposed to laugh. We're supposed to have fun, you know, because they could just see it. I love it when people get what I'm doing.
So let's just have a little bit of a rewind. Where did you start with this?
Well, we were brought up in Spain, on the island of Menorca.
Yeah.
So I was off down to the harbour with my sketchbook, drawing the little boats, and I thought that I'd be an artist then. Then, luckily, I was no good at anything else. Luckily.
Journeying up the New Orleans-inspired hallway and stairs, you're going to find Mary Rose's bedroom, another furiously fun fusion of colour and joy. Next door is her dressing room, with a floor filled with flowers, roses, natch.
Because everything is painted a different colour, you kind of don't really know where you are with spaces. You know, where do they start? Where do they finish?
That's interesting, isn't it? I'm thinking, well, I did do it because one room leads into another without coming off a corridor or anything. So each room has to look nice from the other room. It's another fun thing for me. It's like that room's got its own character because it's the spare bedroom.
The idea of reinventing tradition is quite important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, I always use quite traditional shapes. It's kind of comforting.
Familiar.
Yeah, familiar.
But a little bit subverted. I look at a cabinet like that and it looks very Victorian Gothic. But for goodness sake, it's covered in rock and roll.
Yeah.
Now, what's through this? Oh, wow. For goodness sake. Let's get in here. A triumph.
Thank you. Try not to drip here. Ooh, there we go.
I mean, this looks... I feel as if I'm in Mexico suddenly. It's got that real Mexican va-va-voom.
Yeah, let's be all Mexican.
Obviously, you don't plan things out, do you? You do just suddenly decide you're going to put a pink spot on the green wall.
That's what I'm like. I was really hoping you were going to do this, Laurence, to be
heavens,
quite honest.
no. You're doing such a lovely job.
Well...
I mean, the thing is about you, I mean, you're using very ordinary paint. You're using an ordinary brush. There's nothing arte about this. You know, you're not having pigments ground in a remote monastery.
It would take too long, wouldn't it? It would just be, you know, a faff. and a nuisance.
Do you get slightly frustrated by how straight-jacketed Brits can be?
I think it's to do with money, though, isn't it? You seem to be more wealthy if you paint your house grey with lots of...
Well, this is a really fascinating point because all through history, colour was always only for the rich.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, anybody could get colour, so the rich only want it without colour.
Yeah.
They want it empty and minimal, and they want it greige.
Just be fun. But I like the fact that I stand out really easily because I'm pink dots on the wall, you know. It really makes me happy. I just love doing it so much. And so, hey, I'm on a win-win situation, baby.
I think we should do one over there.
Up there.
That's good there, yeah.
What a pleasure it is to peruse this pottery palace painted with a pop art palette. Mary Rose awakens the senses and transports you into a state of childlike wonder. She wants people to smile in her house, to be happy. Put, I don't know, maybe a lampshade on your head. Actually, that's probably just me.
In the middle of a forest, Mary Rose has crafted herself a cottage full of fairy tale colours and hip, hip, hooray patterns from which she potters to perfection.
Ah, so ta-ta to Technicolor because it's back to the future with this fabulously nostalgic West London pad. Meet the A-Team, Will and George, who were very matey for the 80s.
I think one of the best descriptions for this house is as if a rich woman in her 40s in the 1980s lived here. It's not just a collection of memorabilia, it's almost like a living museum.
Yeah.
Everything you see is from charity shops.
Yeah.
We host lots of parties and they're all immersive vintage.
When our friends do come round, it's always nice to see people's reactions.
If people bring their smartphones, we ask them to hide them. It's a nice respite from the modern world. This is from a party recently. We brought back Carling Black Label. I don't want to sound big-headed about our entertaining skills, but people were blown away by how authentic it was. Hi, this is Will and George. We're going to be away for this weekend. We have a 1980s cassette answering machine, so if we're not in, we never miss a call, and we'll get back to you when we get home. Here's our pride and joy. This is our 1980s home entertainment system. All of the TV shows we watch are vintage. Cagney and Lacey. Dallas. To have the opulence of the era, we've just gone full out. Starting off with our wall of copper. Not enough people display copper anymore.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. All of these appliances are quite iconic.
My favourite appliance is probably the General Electric food processor. It mixes and chops and grates.
And it's also been in the Golden Girls.
I think it's safe to say we don't do anything in halves.
Yeah.
So it has to be completely or nothing.
We've kind of inadvertently been following a timeline.
Maybe we'll reach the 90s. Who knows?
Oh, don't go changing to try and please us, Will and George. We love you just the way you are. Stay golden. Awaiting your excellent company, a lesson in all things Victorian.
This one's called the Parlor.
The
Parlor.
I like it. Parlor.
Parlor.
Parlor. From the outside, houses are built to withstand the test of time, hence bricks and mortar. But inside, styles change, fashion changes, people change, rooms change. Unless, of course, you're the outrageous homeowner that I'm about to meet, for whom life is best lived in the past.
Good morning, sir.
Behold, this is Peter, a communications manager from Nottingham, a man with a very 21st century job, but a very 19th century obsession.
OK, Peter, time to time travel.
18 years ago, Peter and his husband, also called Peter, and their 2 dinky dogs, not called Peter, bought a house. But rather than modernise this delightful 19th century cottage, they did the complete opposite. They've taken their home back in time. In fact, every room is now achingly sympathetic to how it would have looked in the 1900s. Not just Victorian in style, but in practice too. A living space with a working cast iron stove. Bedrooms and a bathroom that lovingly celebrate the simpler design choices of the time. Peter even sacrificed the room at the back of the house to honour its original use as a shop. But the icing on this glorious Victoria sponge is the room that this era did the very best.
This room's called the parlour.
The parlour.
Parlour.
I like it. Parlour.
Parlour.
Parlour. Love a parlour. People need more parlours. Why have a living room when you can have a parlour?
I know.
I think it's such a good word.
Actually, when you say it, you sound really ostentatious, actually.
Parlour.
Parlour.
Parlour. So I can see how it's extremely important to you that you're not just finding the right item for a 1900s house. You actually want the item that was originally here.
It is, yeah. I mean, I just wanted to be true to the house. So I've been a bit of a detective. Under 5 layers of wallpaper in the electric cupboard, there was this original 1890 wallpaper. I redrew it so the scale's right and the colours are right.
And you had this printed as exactly what you'd found when you'd taken all the layers of paper off.
That's right. And then 2 or 3 years ago, I was digging in the garden and I found a fragment of sort of red glass that had been etched, because the Victorians did used to use their garden as basically their tip.
Yeah,
But we found in the glass here,
Yeah.
this glass here, there was fragments of that in the garden. Yeah.
So you could use that to then restore that door to how you feel it probably was. Dare I call it obsession?
Yes.
Yeah. You're happy with obsession?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of money.
There are easier ways of doing it. Yeah, yeah.
I could have bought a good second-hand car with this room.
Yeah,
this
yeah, no,
wallpaper in this
basically,
room.
yeah, I bet.
When you've got something right and you know it was there 100 years ago, you can't beat that. It's just a real buzz.
I say, Peter, your house is bang up to the elephant.
Meaning your house is very complete.
I tell you what, Peter, I think it's very impressive that you're all humble come stumble about this Victorian slang thing.
Meaning you are thoroughly understood.
This is all about the 1900s, which you've researched so clearly and, you know, you evoke so cleverly. Where did you start off, though?
I knew it needed antique furniture. My mum was a big car booter, antique shopper, you know, and I was brought up on it. She used to drag me to antique shops when I was a kid. Unfortunately, you know, she's recently passed, so, you know, it's sad, but it's given me great comfort, because when I go into some of the rooms, I remember the stuff that she bought me, like the clock, and different things, and stuff that she was so excited when she came here. She'd come with a car full of stuff. She goes, come on, come on, come on, look at my stuff,
She
look at my
must have
stuff.
loved this, though. She must have been so proud.
Yeah, she was really proud.
So what do you use this room for normally?
It's our everyday dining room, breakfast, sort of lounging space, and it's only in the evening we go into the parlour. So this is essentially our living room.
There's no museum here, is there? It's not as if you're sort of creeping around not disturbing stuff. You've made these rooms to evoke 1900, but you are just occupying them as a 21st century human being.
That's right. But actually, there's aspects in this house that I don't like. So it's been a huge compromise, but I've had to have these things, like this wallpaper in here.
You don't like it?
It's pretty ghastly, isn't it? And it's actually all over the ceiling as well, which you just wouldn't do. It makes it very dark in here, but that's the story of the house. Don't get me wrong, I do like elaborate Victorian furniture, like, you know, bronzes and beautiful oil paintings, and I love all of that, but it's just not right for here, really. And I've had to rein back.
Yeah.
Reining back, the upstairs has meant that the bedrooms are all about Victorian austerity. Peter has steadfastly kept true to the plain, simple decor and functional furniture of the time. Likewise, in the bathroom. And signs are plenty. But where today you'd get pass me the Prosecco and watch me get fabulous, Peter's are much more about Victorian virtue signalling.
Let's talk about your journey, because 1900s, it's a very exciting place in many ways. But actually, you, Peter, would have found life very difficult, wouldn't you?
I would have been, because I'm gay. I would have been illegal.
Well, I mean, of course, the big thing was the trial of Oscar Wilde, you know, the imprisonment of Oscar Wilde and then the death of Oscar Wilde. So actually being gay in 1900 was a very, very difficult situation.
I suppose in a way I have got the best of both worlds. So I've got the sort of the tolerance of the 21st century and actually the Victorian era, you know, it's quite a camp period with lots of swags, lots of gold, lots of gilding, very over the top. So, although you say, obviously, you know, they weren't tolerant of gay people, for me, there's an affinity there because I like that element of show.
What about husband Peter in all of this? Was he willing?
Not really.
Took some persuading.
He took some persuading, but when we're doing a project, he will help out, and he's very good like that.
I'm as mad as hops about your house, Peter.
Which means I'm excitable.
Peter, have you got any bags of mystery I should know about?
Meaning, have you got any sausages?
I say, Peter, you're bricky and up to the afternoonified.
I can't remember what that was.
No, I know.
Oh, it means brave and smart.
Brave and smart.
OK, brave and smart, brave and smart.
Perhaps the room that best shows off Peter's particular passion for the period is the
shop.
Hello there.
This is incredible. OK, get the fact you live in a 1900 house. You don't need to have a shop. I mean, what was this when you bought the house?
This was a dining room.
This was the dining room.
And it was opened out into the parlour. So it was one big, long through room. And we did do the dining room for a period.
Yeah.
But the dining room was not a sort of working class feature in a working class house.
Do we know this was originally a shop?
Yeah. And I have been forensic with this. So I've looked at old adverts, all of that, and made sure that the products that are available. So, for example, this Cadbury's cabinet here, that is a 1920s cabinet. And the products that are in there are in an advert that I've got in an old newspaper.
You look at some of these things like the condensed milk and the Dundee marmalade. And again, this is just for you. You know, you're not really selling anything here, are you?
It's mainly used as storage, if I'm honest with you. So it's usually just to get a bottle of wine, to be frank.
Fair enough.
I think Queen Vic would be proud because in a world of me, Peter has made a home that's actually not about him. And unlike most, he hasn't just cherry-picked the best bits of Victorian design. His magnificently researched home embraces both the extravagance and the austerity of a fascinating part of history.
When you own an old house, you're a custodian. You know, nothing in this room is ever going to be mine. The house is never going to be mine because at the end of the day, you die and it gets sold on. It also makes you realise what life's about, actually. You know, when you think back, you know, 100 years ago, the people that lived in this house, this was their life, this was their room, and they're no longer here. And it makes you appreciate your own life and make the most of it, because we're not going to be around forever.
They say all good things come in small packages until you meet a small package, that is. So here's a tiny treat for you. Meet Claire, a retiree from Pembrokeshire.
We call this little cottage Thumbelina's cottage. This is it. This is the sum total of my snug little living room. People say, oh, Claire, it's a bit small to have dark colours, don't you think? And I'm like, no. You're walking into a room that just wraps itself around us. Everything I do, I like to feel is unique. I want to have things that nobody else has got. These gorgeous little cherubs, they were from an antique shop. I absolutely love them. And I know that if I go into a friend's house, I won't see them on anybody's wall. Meet Bertie. I bought him within weeks of moving in. So he really is one of the oldies. I live here with my husband, Martin, my grandson, Milo, and our little dog called Riley. It's quite a snug fit. There's a bit of a theme you'll find in my cottage. There's a lot of green, even if it's just in the accessories. Florals is a huge thing in this house. The absolute jewel in the crown of this room is the wallpaper. These blaze of hollyhocks, it's just so uplifting. I wanted to wallpaper the ceiling in the same wallpaper, but Martin, bless him, he said, Claire, I don't want to feel as if the ceiling's closing in on me. So I compromised. I still think that he could be persuaded. You do have to work harder in a small space. It's got to overcome itself. So it's got to be super creative, super interesting, to take away the fact that, oh God, this is just a small space.
Incoming! An outrageous homeowner brings an arty edge to her home.
One thing that really, really bothers me. Where are your clothes?
Wow.
The peace. The brook babbling, the leaves fluttering, the great tits kind of titting. This slice of heaven comes with a large side order of tartan because it's the gateway to the Highlands. And if you've ever had the ambition to make a happy place like this into your permanent home, then you're really going to enjoy this next outrageous homeowner who's done just that.
A mere stone's throw away from this Perthshire picnic spot is the house of Jen. 7 years ago, she fell in love with a rather beige four-bedroom maisonette. As an interior designer, it sent her artistic flair into overdrive, creating and curating rooms with beauty, intrigue, and more than a little drama. Jen shares her love of composition with her husband Martin and daughters Aurora and Saoirse, who take her passion as seriously as she does.
Right, Jen, show me your living, breathing gallery of life.
Okay, maybe not that seriously.
Sorry.
Jen's transformed this 2,500 square foot space into a sumptuous, romantic paradise, and the real jewel in her crown is her lovely living room.
How would you describe your particular, and let's face it, is very particular sense of style?
I suppose it's sort of like an art meets interiors kind of thing. I take it from different art sources, so like theatre or a painting.
Everywhere you look, I can see that composition in your head as a painting.
Yeah.
And here it is in 3 dimensions. Here it is, we're living it. But then you've done that with the ceiling. Who does that in the 21st century? Where do you even start with putting velvet on a ceiling?
I would never, ever do it again.
Really?
There's lots of swearing.
You heard it here first. Don't do it. Jen says it looks good, but don't do it.
Oh, Lord. I love fabric.
Yeah.
I did theatre costume design, and for me, you can't beat a bit of fabric.
It's weird, because even though we can't touch that, I can see it's velvet, and it instantly makes me feel cosy and warm. But what's so crazy is you've essentially created a kind of a garden pond, but on the ceiling. You know, we'd be very used to seeing that, looking down on that.
Yes.
But what you've done is you've gone very surreal, and you've literally turned the house upside down.
I love having something that's like a real unexpected juxtaposition.
Yeah.
You know, and you walk in and you look somewhere and you go, oh, this is nice and this is nice. And then suddenly you look somewhere else and go, oh, what? I didn't expect that.
Of course, you are very clever because underneath it all, you've created great bones. The painted panels on the wall are just doing such a huge job of ensuring that all the slightly wacky stuff isn't running away with the show.
Yeah.
It's something that you can drape all the rest of the stuff on so that you can then let your freak flag fly.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to live as a modernist in a modern way?
No.
I am enchanted by the aesthetics of this home. Jen's cleverly drawn together her favourite moods and styles from different periods, binging on the Renaissance, sprinkling a bit of Art Deco, and then whocking it in the Far East. In fact, her unique artistic vision allows for inspiration to come from just about anywhere. And any door.
Sorry.
And that's especially true of this next audacious space.
It's a really weird-shaped room.
It is an odd shaped room. It's almost like a sort of afterthought room.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because when we bought the house, we actually didn't know that this room existed. It was hidden behind built-in bookcases.
Wow.
So that was in the hallway, and we took that down, found some board behind it, and my husband was like, I think there's a room.
And then there was a loo.
And then there was a loo.
So this is basically your bog-off bathroom. You buy one, get one free. Your bog-off bog.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never knew it was here?
Yeah, my bog off bog, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah. Because I found it, I thought there needs to be something a bit quirky, and I sort of thought about, you know, King Ludwig of Bavaria's
Mad
Venus.
Ludwig.
Yes, Mad Ludwig.
Heavens.
Yes.
What an inspiration point.
Yes,
He's
it's
very
just
you,
very
isn't he?
dramatic.
Very
yeah,
dramatic.
Very dramatic.
The Swan King, or Ludwig II of Bavaria, was famous for being Wagner's patron, but he was also the king behind the most fairy tale castles ever built. Borrowing heavily from the Palace of Versailles, from Baroque mansions, from Gothic cathedrals, well, from pretty much everywhere, really, he loved excess and breathtaking beauty. He built most of his grand designs in the middle of nowhere, not because he loved the views, but because he hated the visitors. Except for swans, that is.
So is that why you've got a disgorging swan?
Yes, my swan tap. So,
Yeah.
you know, I brush my teeth with my swan tap
Oh,
in the
you would,
morning.
wouldn't you?
And it's a really holistic bathroom, actually, because you've got the riverbed pebbles and underfloor heating. So when you walk on it, it's warm and it's nice. And, you know, why shouldn't it evoke feelings when you have a shower in the morning?
Well, I can imagine it's very empowering for you. But the thing that also strikes me, of course, like everywhere else, this isn't about off-the-shelf solutions. You know, you've done all of this yourself, haven't you? I mean, you've got psychological ink blot tests on your washstand.
Yeah, sort of thought when you're in the bath or you're on the loo, you know, and you can just psychoanalyse yourself.
Get deep inside here.
Yes.
What's the one on the end?
A kind of an ostrich feathers that look like a can-can dancer.
See, because I see a lion face in that.
Do you see a lion? What?
Yeah, look, you've got the two eyes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
mane.
Oh, I see that now. Sometimes people will come round and they'll disappear for ages in here.
Jen's quest for artistic perfection means she prioritises beauty over useful. Everywhere. Trust me, I've looked. High and then low. Nothing gets in the way of that principle, even in the bedroom.
One thing that really, really bothers me, where are your clothes?
Wow. The wardrobe used to be here, but there's a nice view.
Yeah.
And in the winter time, this is a great place with the fire and stuff. So I thought I wanted a sofa. So I moved the wardrobe into the hallway, which becomes a nice sort of little difference thing. But I've got an ottoman bed, and all of the clothes and shoes are under there.
That's how you facilitated Jen's world, by being kind of slightly weirdly creative about the fact that, you know, OK, dresses can lie flat in an ottoman. That's actually how the Georgians stored
I think it's a
them.
bit better because
Well,
you don't
why not?
have the things from the coat hangers and, you know.
You've got all of this space here to have a sofa that enjoys the view of Martin in the bar.
Absolutely, exactly.
Watch the sun set behind Martin's dripping back.
Absolutely.
Practical solutions? Pah! Wardrobes are totally overrated anyway. A triumph, Jen! Anyway, what else have you got up your sleeve?
It's not super kitchen-y, is it, Jen?
No.
But what I love about what's going on here is, for most people, the kitchen is the single most important sitting room.
Yeah, I like sitting down, and you didn't have that, it'd just be boring.
And this is it. Make sure that actually you can, as a family, sit down and enjoy the time that you spend together.
Yeah.
The light feels very bespoke.
Yeah, these lights are a bit spoke. I was like seeing online these amazing big feathery things, and they were not in my budget.
No.
And I went, well, do you know what? I'm just going to make one.
I'm going to get a Big shade, and I'm going to go and catch some crows.
Yeah, rooster feathers they are.
Are they indeed?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots
Wow.
of them.
I'm big all over this. But what's going on with your fridge, though? That looks like it's been hexed.
Yes. So these are all chemical symbols for herbology.
Right.
So there's like a fuse and salt and a pinch, and I thought it would be quite fun.
I love the way that you're using colour, the way that you're integrating these very dull bits of technology into a decorative scheme.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what you get. These very, very swanky upmarket designs like Dolce & Gabbana now bringing out sexy fridges.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love this. I think this feels like the beating heart of a happy family home, which is what a kitchen should be.
Yes.
But I can hear the crackle of disapproval because, you know, you've got like a hoochie-coochie lamp above your island, you've got feathers, you've got fake trees, you've got art. You know, what about practicality? What about keeping it clean?
No, I'm a bit more relaxed than that. I mean, there's like a 10-second rule. I mean, we've got like a 30-second rule or just...
We're nudging 15 minutes.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's easy to keep, just give it a
Yeah.
wipe. Do you know, there's going to be dust. It's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of life.
So that's it. The art of living Genway.
I wonder what the kettle is.
An outrageous family home full of intrigue, gilt-edged wonderment and guilt-free excess.
Happy places, by their definition, are going to be personal. Yours might be a Dingley Dell or a Caribbean beach or perhaps the marble halls of the local mall. For Jen, it's about retreating into the rich history of the history of art to make a home that's multi-layered, full of detail and chock full of humour.
TTFN XX Aubergine. See you next time where we will meet these fabulous creative creatures.
It's a whole new world.